Hey, beautiful humans. Welcome back to Unhinged Healing, where we talk about the messy, magical, and sometimes unhinged parts of healing. If you're new here, so am I. I'm Mindy. This is only my sixth YouTube video, and this new channel is my place to be your guide through all things self awareness, self love, and radical transformation. So far on this channel, I have talked about leaving toxic relationships. I've read old diary slash journal entries and just kind of gone that direction. And today I want to do something a little bit different. I want to talk about something that keeps coming up on my social media feed and in conversations. And it really just seems to be something that a lot of people that end up in my circle have a struggle with. And it might be something that hits home for you too. So I am here to ask this question today. Have you ever felt like this? Have you ever felt like you were living a life that wasn't yours? Like you woke up one day and you just realized that you had been following a script that someone else handed to you. And maybe it is a relationship where you've been bending over backwards to keep the peace. Maybe you're constantly having to search for the right thing to say. You have to put on masks. Maybe it's a job that drains you. But you stay because it's the right thing to do. It's what you're supposed to do. It's what's safe and financially secure. Maybe it's the way that you were raised. Maybe your parents were strict. Maybe there was something about the way that you grew up that taught you to not rock the boat, to put everybody else first, to put yourself last, maybe be the good girl and do everything right. But let me ask you this. What if the role that you've been playing isn't actually yours? So, I want to talk about the patterns that keep us stuck. Here's the thing. When you wake up to your life at some point, usually I feel like it happens in your 30s. Your brain finishes developing to a point. You've lived a certain amount of your life. You have X amount of experience, and then this amount of still life expectancy ahead of you. And you start to look at things a little differently than you did when you were younger. And you start to see these patterns around you where maybe you are stuck in a toxic dynamic. Maybe you're in a cycle that doesn't feel good anymore, whether it's with a partner, whether it's your family, circle of friends, coworkers, anyone that just even society itself, you end up assigned in this role. People have expectations of you. Most of them are unwritten and unspoken, but you don't even realize that it's happening until it's too late. You wake up one day and you are so far, so deep into this role that is not even who you are. And you may have been asked if, or told that you were too much or that you were too sensitive simply for expressing the way that you feel. Maybe you've found yourself constantly trying to fix things, believing that if you just tried harder or loved them better, or you were a better mom or a better partner or better at your job, that everything would just finally all click into place and work out. Do you feel like maybe no matter what you do, nothing will change and you're just exhausted? And if you're a people pleaser, like I once was, I bet this sounds familiar. You say yes when you want to say no because you don't want to disappoint anyone. You put your own needs last because making other people happy feels better than letting yourself down. And then you grow resentment and contempt for people around you. But really, you just end up beating yourself up over it at the end of the day. You ignore gut feelings when something feels off. You shove it away and go on with things anyway because you just don't want to seem difficult. You don't want to be the hard one. You don't want to step out of line. And maybe this sounds familiar to you. So I want to talk about the self-sabotage trap that we end up getting ourselves into. And people, I'm telling you this because I know from experience, this is something I have personally lived and been working through for the last 10 years to overcome things like this. So the little voice in your head that second guesses everything. The one that comes right in as soon as you're about to make a decision to tell you how wrong you are. And as soon as someone tries to tell you anything nice, it's right there to cut that compliment right back out of your hand. And maybe you replay conversations over and over, thinking you were the problem, trying to find where you messed up, where you could have done different. Maybe you started questioning your own memories because someone else made you feel like you were imagining things, like you've been gaslit. You have to walk on eggshells around certain people because you're afraid of how they're going to react. And you absolutely could never tell the truth because let's go deeper. Sometimes we don't even need someone else to keep us stuck. We do it to ourselves. We put ourselves in places that feel familiar like this. We keep ourselves exhausted, worrying about other people's problems, never actually putting in the work to do something about our own situation, just lamenting and bullshitting and talking about stuff with other people, but never actually taking any actionable steps, never setting any boundaries. And then maybe you do finally set boundaries, but you immediately feel guilty and backtrack the first time anyone pushes against the boundary because it just feels way too uncomfortable and way too unfamiliar. Maybe you get an opportunity to step into something bigger, but instead of taking the role and listening to people around you celebrate you and praise you, you talk yourself out of things. You convince yourself that you're not ready because deep down you don't feel worthy. You keep choosing what feels familiar, even if it's really shitty, even when it's hurting you, because the unknown feels safer than the scariness of letting go. It's exhausting, isn't it? It makes you feel small, inadequate, makes you question everything about yourself, your thoughts, your beliefs, your habits. It makes you really be just trapped in a life that feels like it isn't yours. But what if it didn't have to be this way? Here's my question for you. Instead of just thinking that that's the way life is, life sucks, then you die, what if the things that you've been tolerating aren't normal? What if it's not necessary to live that life and feel that way? And what if you're not actually asking for too much? What if your gut feeling, that deep, deep, intuitive thing telling you that something isn't right, is actually leading you towards something better, something more beautiful than you could have ever imagined? I want you to sit with that for a minute. Because really, if any of this resonated with you, it's not just in your head. There is a part of you in the future on your timeline who is reaching out to you, asking you to take these steps because they know that you're not only worthy, but that you're capable of doing these things. You wouldn't be having these feelings. You wouldn't be watching this video if that wasn't what was meant for you. You do not have to accept these breadcrumbs. You know there's something more for you. You're waking up, and I'm so glad because you don't have to play that role that someone else gave you. You deserve to be the main character in your own story. And if you're ready to find out how, stick around because I am soon releasing my brand new masterclass, Main Character Energy. I am going to take you through some actionable steps. It's going to be really fun, and it's a quick, easy, simple way to really just begin to step out of some of those roles that you've been playing and to get away from the toxicity and the drama and the chaotic cycle that you find yourself in. And I would love if you wanted to check it out. Please check the link below this video. Also, be sure and subscribe so that you don't miss what's coming next. And as always, I appreciate you so much for coming and watching these and for doing this for yourself. Really, this work takes a lot of balls. Like, self-improvement is not easy. And I am so proud of you. And your future self is so proud of you too. When I mentioned earlier that there's somewhere in your future, there is a part of you on your timeline that is reaching out for you and wanting you to come towards them, knowing that you're capable of these things. And I raised my hands. It's because I can remember doing that myself. I have journals filled with my old me doing this work, figuring out how boundaries work, figuring out how I wanted to live my own life and how I could be the main character in my own story and stop people pleasing and all of these things. And it's a forever perpetual journey that I'm still on. And I would be absolutely honored if you would like me to be your guide on that journey as well. So, if you would like to book a discovery call with me, the link below the video is there for that as well, and for the upcoming masterclass. And until next time, love you, mean it.